So we thought in our three-word game this week, one of our last of the year, we would use three words to describe both teams in the game, not just the game itself. So let's start with the Raiders. Three words, crazy car ride. Haven't won a playoff game in 19 years, but they are the first team to make the playoffs after a mid-season coaching change since 1961. And in the end, Derek Carr led a chaotic franchise to a playoff berth. Yes, he had that interception there in the red zone, 4th and goal from the Bengals 9. But it was a great ride, and I think if you're a Raider fan, you just cross your fingers, you can keep it going and kind of fasten up and button up the culture. Bengals, just trust Joe. Over his last three games, not only is Burrow 3-0, but he's completed 76.5% of his throws. They scored on each of their first 5 possessions. He's got just enough mobility, just a good enough arm, and a ton of it. It does help. Jamar Chase had 116 of his 244 yards. He had a big throw up the right sideline on a 3rd and long midway through the 4th, and it's kind of a forgettable moment. But boy, when he gets in crisis, he is going to Jamar Chase, and I hope you got him doubled because you're not gonna stop that kid man-on-man coverage. New England, Mac and Freeze. Last 5 games, Mac Jones 8 touchdowns, 7 picks. Did the league figure him out? Well, the weather got worse, and they played better defenses, Miami and Buffalo. He also trailed in games late in the year. That's a much tougher pivot for a rookie quarterback. One thing, they had a long stretch where he was pretty good with a lead in the middle of the season. End of the year, he was trailing really good teams and playing better defenses. And, I mean, and it was the most points allowed by Belichick, 47, in his NFL career. Buffalo, how about Buffalo? Whoa. First team in the Super Bowl era to score on their first 7 possessions. Even when the Patriots seemed to have Josh Allen bottled up, it didn't matter. He was 20 of 25 in inclement weather. I mean, and it looks so easy. Do you know that Josh Allen has had 20 straight possessions against New England without a punt? Yeah, he's good. Philadelphia, a serious decision. Nick Sirianni. What do? Had the lowest completion percentage of any quarterback in the playoffs, lowest passer rating. And I think probably more disturbing is Philly was 0-7 against playoff teams. So you could take this game and frame it however you want to frame it. But they didn't beat a good team this year. And I mean, even Dallas had their way with them. So you got to kick the tires on the market. Let's be honest. There's somebody's going to give multiple good first-round picks. Giants have 2 great first-round picks. Philly has 3, none of them top 10. So, Tampa Bay, ahoy me Brady. Do you know Tom Brady has won 17 of his last 20 playoff games? Isn't that insane? His 35th playoff win. I thought in the first half he was great. Also, I think Tampa coached 2 different games. I think in the first half they were super aggressive, and then they got a lead, and they didn't have Fournette and Ronald Jones, and they're not going to be as good running the ball without Fournette and Ronald Jones. Plus, Tristan Wirfs got hurt. Jensen, the center, got hurt. So they're not a great killing the clock team when they're missing their 2 best offensive linemen, arguably, and their 2 best running backs. That's why they were clunky in the third quarter. But in the first half, when they were hyper-aggressive, they looked real good. San Francisco, dominated with Debo Samuel, 72 yards rushing touchdown. In the Super Bowl era, most rushing yards by a wide receiver. I think he's my favorite non-quarterback in the league. I mean, he can do anything. He's great after the catch, great hands. He can block. You can use him in the backfield. There's just not a lot of Debo Samuels out there. He's got pull-away speed. He's clever. He can put his head down and run over linebackers. Dallas. What was Dak? 14 penalties, 53% completion percentage. I didn't think he played particularly well, but I think we've got a book on Dak. He needs rushing help. He didn't get it. So they're going to have to kind of address, outside of Zach Martin, address their offensive line. I think they have to address Zeke Elliott. Tony Pollard, I wouldn't get rid of. Zeke, I would consider it. But we have a pretty clear indication of what Dak is. When you get him rushing yards and support, he's a good quarterback. When you don't, and you have him to carry you, he's going to struggle. By the way, Mike McCarthy, 18-16 with this roster since he arrived. Finally, Pittsburgh, one last bender. Well, he finishes third most passing yards behind Peyton Manning and Tom Brady ever in the playoffs. That was the largest playoff loss of his career. Well, it was, listen, I guess here's the positive way to look at it. He got to the playoffs in a good division, in a really good division. So probably second, third best division in football. He got him into the playoffs. And he had 4 or 5, 6 really good games. There was a moment early in this season, but old quarterbacks can struggle down the stretch. And they need to throw the ball, get a little more active, throw the ball down the field. I love their receiving core. I think their receiving core is fantastic. And it's got to be attractive to the Aarons and the Russells. They got 3 dudes who can play. Kansas City, read and weep. Mahomes' playoff career at home, 20 touchdowns and 1 pick, 6-1. Started slow, finished strong, and they are favored by a couple of points against the Bills. It's one of those teams, not many of these teams. Buffalo's won and Kansas City's won. They could fall behind 17-0 in a playoff game and you'd be like, oh, I'm good with it. I do think what's interesting, though, over the weekend, if I had one big takeaway, Buffalo finally committed to the run, and it was like against a good run defense. Not a great run defense. New England's okay. But Singletary, Josh Allen, Moss, it was like, run the ball. If you're going to get into a fireworks show and a track meet with Mahomes, good luck winning at Arrowhead. Slow it down, run the ball, then you got a shot. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.